There are 2 guides, one by... Oh, we're off. Never mind.
Yeah, we are off.
And we have one person...
The ice rod.
Ooh, that's nice.
Ice rod, nice rod for Canadian match.
I mean, so... Okay, I like Elminster going this route. I like this route a lot. Getting the guaranteed quote-unquote bombs.
Oh, you mean ACMLM going for the...
Oh yeah, sorry, ACMLM. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good strat. Point of fact, ACMLM is a bit of a progenitor when it comes to the tree pulls. He actually looked at the code and is the one that figured it out. So it's kind of a funny irony that he actually takes the route where you only go to really one tree pull, whereas Elminster goes to the more tree pull heavy route.
I mean, both will probably only check it once, and for the first tree pull, and then at some other later point, they might pull on something to see what their other pull is. Again, nothing from the rock crab. So rock crab is bad, tree is bad. So ACM's route is paying off.
Yeah, so just real quick to go over pumping. It mostly counts, like you said, in the cardinal north and west direction. Link's movement cycle oscillates at 2 and 1 pixels. So when you first move, you move 2 pixels, and then 1, 2, and then 1. So pumping, what you're doing is you're adding diagonals to your input to reset the movement oscillation to be 2, 2, 2. It's not humanly possible to do it perfectly, but you're effectively saving a single pixel every time you do it. And so over the course of the normal speedrun, I think it actually saves about 8 to 10 seconds.
Yep, because you only... Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, and that's in the normal speedrun. You get boots really early, so just imagine for rando.
Yeah, you save 8 minutes in like the... It takes about 11 to 12 minutes for like a decent runner to get the boots. So that's about... You're saving about 0.7 seconds. Or you're probably saving about a second a minute if you did it like somewhat optimally, like at a speedrun level. Because you have to think that there's actually going to be more... Sometimes you'll save more and sometimes you'll save less because of the directions you're moving.
Yeah, and of course, conversely, if you try to pump when heading east or south, it's a 1-2, 1-2 cycle. So you're actually losing that pixel.
Yeah. If you want to learn more, a really good guide is Andy's No Major Glitches. Really comprehensive. It is like, oh, there's silvers.
Silver arrows, the aggros.
It is 8 hours long-ish. But it is about as comprehensive as you get. I think it pretty much covers everything currently known by Link to the Past. So this is nice. Okay, so silvers are nice because when you find bow, you get damage, and then ice rod is nice because you get like to freeze enemies.
That's very true. Andy's guide is very good. It's a little outdated, but it's a wonderful primer if you're looking to get into the speedrun. You'll learn the essentials.
I've seen some runners pumping east. Feels bad.
Okay, man, as long as you're practicing the execution of it. Then this is application.
Yes, both commentators, both runners, and possibly the tracker are Canadian. I haven't. The best part is that I'm from like central Canada, so my accent is very noticeable.
I'm from Western Canada, and I believe our 2 runners here are more Eastern. So we're kind of a little all over the map. Our German friends got their chance, so we get ours, which is kind of cute. So, not a lot in the town, actually.
No, this is a dry season. So this ice rod kind of worries me in a way. I think it's going to be like an early Moldorm. That's my prediction now.
Don't think we had a map check either. You see I'm not opting for the rubies.
Moldorm is actually pretty trolly logically. He requires so much to access. Oh yeah, you have magic. Yeah, I bet you were getting... So like this ice rod's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to have this rod because with half magic, like combined with half magic, it might be a very strong early weapon for them.
It also, if they find the hammer, it does give them access to like a different drop pool. So the way that drops work in this game is that there are a bunch of groups of enemies that are grouped together, and whenever you kill one, and it drops loot, it advances the loot table. The exception to this is if you stun an enemy with the boomerang or the hook shot. Well, there's power
Ooh,
gloves.
Power gloves.
So if you stun an enemy, that is one separate prize. It will always drop the same item every time you stun. And if you freeze an enemy and then smash them with the hammer, that is a separate loot table. It is one item separated in that, but specifically only smashing them with the hammer. That's true in the main game as well. I believe it drops magic.
Yeah, I believe at least colloquially. Okay, I believe they're called prize packs.
That's
and then,
it.
like you were saying, there are different tiers within the prize packs, and so the first tier is just killing one enemy. The second is killing 4 and taking a strike, and then the third is killing 4 without getting hit.
I feel like we ended up talking about different. That's the tree table for sure. I was talking about the actual loot.
Yeah, no, sorry, it's yeah,
That's okay.
It's crabs, trees, and a bunch of other things. No, there's the different prize packs. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's different prize paths for different enemies.
Moon Pearl.
Like, ooh, we're almost there. We're almost to Dark World. In before, this is actually swordless, and nobody told them, and so they have to find the hammer to go to, and then I'll have to go to adding them with the hammer. Oh, I guess they already have gloves. Never mind.
Yeah, so Hyplia Cave having the pearl, so it's pretty good. Got one more piece of the puzzle.
The glove might. I don't know where that's gonna lead them. They're both. Looks like they're both gonna go to Ice Cave. So.
Yeah, they don't really have too much, so it's really good that they're checking this location. At least ACM. I don't really think an early gamble would be that prudent right now. The glove will let them get to the back of Escape and check Sora.
That's
so
right.
We could see a fake flipper here, especially since ACM got a lot of money, but opting not to.
It'd be pretty hyped to see Elminster do that, because you would get the extra items. ACM, he's like pretty set routes like on how he does things, so like I'm pretty sure he doesn't change that much.
Yeah, it can be a little hard to say. Looks like he is gonna go to the back of Escape.
Are their routes exactly the same so far? They took a different starting route, but they both went to the village first, and then they both went here. ACM obviously hadn't, as you can tell, didn't check Sanctuary yet, because he took the south route to the village. On blue mail?
Blue mail, a blue shield, and a key.
Steven Quinn not checking the crossroads chest. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a little obtuse to kind of go from the back, especially if you don't have a weapon. So I can really understand that.
That's true.
Looks like he's gonna make the eastern play.
That makes the most sense right now. It's sequence break-in. Some runners just don't do it. They don't like it. They think that it can make your run worse. The only time you should like absolutely sequence break is when you're starting to run out of options and there's no like actual quick option. It looks like Elminster is gonna go to the castle now. We are seeing a divergence here. The thing is, he doesn't actually. Oh, the book. Okay, my call.
Will be good.
If he finds the lamp, I think that it's Mini Molder early required with Ice Rod. And that my prediction's panning out now.
Mini Molder?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, not Mini Molder. The sandworms.
Lamela.
Yeah.
What's this thing you're talking about? Because like they're all prime for desert, but you mentioned Molder earlier. Like, wait a minute. And the hammer in the mountain.
They're both worms. Yeah, I always like mage seeds. Somebody in chat pointed out. I do like the seeds where you're actually a magician. I can't remember. Is he gonna have to freeze and then bomb? I assume so, because I'm pretty sure you can't. Or just throwing things don't shatter them, right?
No, throwing is fine.
Yeah.
Do you mean for when he's gonna freeze the guard?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can freeze the green guard and then throw the one guard into the other. Or if you're just freezing them in the castle, then you can freeze them, pull out a bomb, or if you find a pot or something.
Eventually we'll know what items Elm has. Hopefully. Watch it, he got Fire Rod or... No, he would have switched to Fire Rod already.
Yeah, sequence breaks can be kind of interesting though, because some of them can really pay off. Like if you go to Waterfall Cave and you find the mirror, if you find the boots or the flute, it can start to make kind of your route a little bit more complicated, but it can provide a lot of early movement. So to me, that's kind of like, if I do that, that's what I'm looking for. But for some people, the chain can get a little complicated. But hey, the Titansmiths! So with those Titansmiths, ACM now has access to Dark World. Now, whether he goes there right away, that will be left up to the future.
It'll be a little... Oh, we forgot to pick up the big key. At least we saw that. Oh, there's a map. We saw an item. I don't know what else we got. So the crossroads do have an item. That's confirmed.
Yeah, we saw bombs just on the map. I didn't see the other thing, but it seems to be inconsequential. You see him taking a sequence break here. Just wants to flush out Eastern while he's here.
Yep. Looks like Elminster didn't find anything to go to Dark World because he's heading to Castle, or sorry, to the Eastern Palace, and just a fire shield for ACM. So Book is telling us to head straight for Desert. Except he is opting to go to Death Mountain. Oh no, he has the Titans. I totally missed that. I am dumb.
It's okay. Yeah, he's probably gonna go into the Dark World. He doesn't have the boots, and Desert takes a little while to walk to. He can get a lot of quick checks here, so
Yeah.
he'll probably go to Dark World, get a bunch of little quick checks, and then if he's not really led in any strong direction, then he can go to Desert as he pleases. Although it would be interesting if he goes for a pestle check right away here.
Oh, Elminster is checking. He must have gone the Book and pieced out. He is going to Desert.
So we'll quickly find out if Desert was a good option. You see, I'm not going for the pestle check just yet, but going into Skullwoods.
This is generally a good play just because of the way that the logic works out. This dungeon generally has an item in it. It's less often now because Mathila can't have a key on him anymore or can't lead to a key. So he more often has an actual item on him. Oh, we're not gonna... Oh, and it's just 5 bombs. We're gonna see if Desert
Just 5
itself...
bombs?
Or 5 bomb upgrade, which even worse. Because there's an
What?
actual...
No, Skull's still a very good place to check. The dungeon is really broken up, so it's very quick to get to. So it's not like it's not like it's the time is really front loaded. You're pretty much just going in, checking it real quickly.
Mhm.
You're already going back to the overworld when you go through a part of the dungeon, so it's not like you're all the way in the dungeon. You're like, oh, okay, well, I have to do everything. You can just kind of pop in real quick. A few different ways to route it.
ACM getting trolled by the jelly, and now the Dibdos. It's the
Yeah,
dodge
so
the hand.
So it'd be fun to see if Elminster finds anything here really early.
You'd have to find Hammer for him to not lose time, or Lamp. Lamp leading him to Land Mollis. And end. Well, nothing was installed, actually. So we do have the bid key to check still. Okay, so he's saving it. So he didn't find the lamp. So that's a thing. Because if he did, he might have finished the dungeon.
Yeah, well, it looked like he might have been pestle, boots locked rather.
Ah.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's splicing his stream right now, so it's a little hard to tell.
And then he's got a sequence break here. Really doesn't want to go to Eastern. I mean, I understand it. It's just... Especially when you find something already at Adrenum, it's like, why? Why do it?
Yeah, for him, he doesn't have a Titan's Mitt, so he's following the book breadcrumb.
Well, not really
So-
following a breadcrumb. He's completely abandoning it. Because there's no route in for him right now. Like, he doesn't actually... He is following what he has. But he hasn't checked everything that you can initially check, so... This is going to be very interesting. Elminster, that is, I think, a huge gamble to not check Eastern. But if he finds the bow during this swimming expedition, is going to pay out really well for him. Even though it looked like he was given the bottle, we actually don't know because we didn't see it over Lint's head. The guy still always hands you a bottle. It just happens to have something else.
Yeah, I mean, Zora is part of the logic. He could find something else here, but unfortunately, we know that Eastern has worth. And there is worth in the treasure shot game, because what are those?
Wow, that's not great for Elminster to find. For Elminster. Also, you can't dash the enemies yet without the sword, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how it works exactly, but little things like doing the item dash for the hammer peg and whatnot, you can't actually do without the sword.
Well, you can. You just bonk because the hammer doesn't work.
That's true.
It's pretty great. Watching somebody start watching somebody who doesn't know that start a hammer dash and then just bonk, and then usually try it again.
Yeah. So we're heading into the shovel game here. I'm always curious to see what pattern runners like to do.
Getting lots of money drops, which is nice. Okay, game, please. Okay,
That was 30, I believe.
Wow. So Elminster save and quit again, so obviously didn't find anything of worth at Zora.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, even if you found something, you can't really flute away or whichever, but whether you did find something of value,
What if you
we'll have
found
to
bow?
find out in a little bit.
What if you found a bow?
That would be very good.
Thinking. It's like gets to complete the dungeon instead.
Yeah, it looks like he is heading to Eastern now.
Yeah, that's kind of the last thing he can do other than go to Death Mountain, but going to Death Mountain is pretty bad. It's only, what, one? Yeah.
Which is only one?
There's only one item he can check, plus the old man himself, so just two. And then find out a third, so it's...
Oh, on the mountain, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get the save point. I know some people like to do it early. ACM checking Boncroc here. Can Bonk onto rocks without a sword? Now I wonder if Elminster will peace out early and once he finds the Titans, because they're not in the last chest, so that would be interesting. He pieces out again just to save as much time, because this is pretty bad for him. He's losing quite a bit of time, unless ACM has to retrace his steps. So it looks like he found the red boomerang somewhere along Zora.
Yep, the red meringue is definitely not a bad item to get. I've seen some people skip a quick red meringue find, but there's a lot of little tricks that you can do with it. It actually does come in more handy than some races might be aware of. People prefer the blue just because of the speedrun, and it doesn't lag like the red one does, but there are some tricks that only the red meringue can do. Only 20 rupees from the Smiths, and
oh, sorry, and there's the Titan's Mitts for Elminster. Hopefully he'll peace out, but we can't tell. He'll probably finish the dungeon since he's here already.
Yeah, Canadian internet at its finest. I feel like there could be a net neutrality joke here, but I'll save the politics.
I like my internet. I guess we can just make it. Oh shoot, we can't make a Comcast joke. That's not Canadian. Quick. Who do we hate? Bell or Rogers?
I mean, you see MLM going through the Southern Dark World Tour.
Probably Chicken Hype Cave.
Yeah, so very quickly here we will learn if it's Hype Cave or just Swamp Cave.
Okay, so 20 rupees and 5 bomb upgrade, piece of heart, 20 rupees, and
Ooh.
10. Okay.
That's pretty high.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so where does he go next? He doesn't really have that many options, honestly.
Is he gonna buy bombs? No. Okay.
No. I mean,
he is doubling back.
he could. He did just like get 15 extra bombs. Bomb cap. I guess he could go to Thieves Town. That's kind of all he can do. I really can't see what else he could do. He doesn't have flippers.
Well, he hasn't gone to Desert just yet, and he did get the boots. So unlike Elminster, he will have the option to check the torch there and grab a key.
Right.
He doesn't have a fire source, so he couldn't actually do La Mole yet.
Okay,
But
so
he could complete the dungeon and maybe find an item or two.
Elm has at least a bottle. So there was a bottle at Zora, I guess. Because he stopped and checked the bottle kid. Oh, we done a map check. Oh, it's gone.
I saw a pennant at Skullwoods.
ACMLM does not want to go into Thieves with a sword. I do not blame him. Places.
Well, in general, I don't think he likes to go in without a hammer. I'm kind of similar in that regard, but I do believe he said that in specific. He tries to not go in unless he has a hammer.
That's decent. That's a decent idea. Go to Desert. So if he goes to Desert and then goes to Zora, Elminster actually isn't too far behind, honestly. If ACMLM has to double back. The good thing is that if he finds the torch here, ACMLM, I mean, he will be able to complete the dungeon, or if he finds Fire Rod. So that'll be a big deal.
Yeah, the main thing for Elminster is that he got the boots a little bit later, and he already dipped Desert. Dipping Desert is probably his main time. He went to Zora, got Zora, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But they're certainly, I mean, they're still very close. Slight advantage to ACMLM, I'd say. Oh, and a quick little tip here. In that room with the sandpit monster, you can actually bonk against that one wall part there. So if you don't have a weapon, you can bonk right over the monster.
Okay, that's cool. Like, you mean that little sticky out part? That's cool.
Yes, the sticky out part.
I'm gonna do that now, from now on.
So indeed, we see the big key on the torch. So obviously ACMLM will get to check more items here. And Elminster getting his 1 rupee. And now he is making his way towards Southern Dark World Tour and to Swamp Cave. Oh, pardon me. He's heading back. Oh, he's gonna grab the frog, right?
Right. Oh, he has to throw the guy. Oh no. He has a neat weapon.
I know what some people like to call that enemy a hentai instead of a popo.
It's definitely a
So
popo.
I think freezing it, we could have a cultural joke here, but I'll let that go for now.
Can't dash through the bushes, feels bad.
Feels bad.
Wait, ACM is just piecing. He's like, no. Gonna jump down the wall of shame. See, I've dipped this place, it gave me nothing. It gave me flippers. Oh my gosh, it gave... No, that's blue mail. My eyes are awful. And I gave flippers, which would lead to nothing, which would be hilarious.
Yeah, so acmlm now checking Agina. It's a very good kind of running from the side. Getting his bomb upgrade. No fire, so of course no Lamola.
Only Kinsgrave and Thievestown in the logic. Correct. Well, I guess ACM is going to probably go straight. Oh, he hasn't done escape yet. Okay, well, let's see what items were there.
Get hype, guys. You get to see the items. No, it's really nice that you have boots. I feel like in terms of time save, boots really help in escape. Boots really help in Thievestown.
Yep.
So,
Now, boots without a sword are kind of bad in both, so you have to be pretty careful. You'll just hit the enemy, and the thins in Thievestown deal like full heart with blue mail. Pretty freaky.
Yeah, and Elminster finding the cape in King's Tomb.
Hey, vanilla!
This is very true.
That's nuts. That's really cool. That could lead to something. I don't think we've seen the... What's there? The Ether Runner has checked.
Yeah, some people like to route in the Bumper Cave tech if they're doing like King's Ledge, and or if they just, you know, until they get the cape. Kind of like how some people like to skip the Lumberjack item check if they don't have boots yet.
Yeah. So, I know ACM... Oh, ACM did check it. Never mind. So, cape is there. If we find sword, that might mean Aja is required to access the other part of Dark World. It's very unlikely, but...
Elminster got an item, and to me it was invisible.
And we'll see where he goes. Holy crap, all the NPCs use palette change are spooky. I just noticed that.
Too spoopy.
Poor guards.
You see, I'm making very quick work. Yep, so now Elminster kind of getting some of the checks that acmlm got a little bit earlier, and acmlm, of course, now checking escape.
Yeah, this means that they are kind of doubling back on each other, which is good for Elm because initially his route in would have led to not as good thins.
Well, the main thing, yeah, is that acmlm has boots for this area,
Yep.
so he's actually able to get a little bit of ground. But of course, now they both have boots, so much more equal footing.
Looks like he is going to be doing his first sequence break, I think. It's kind of weird. Neither runner checked, what's it called? Oh, nice setup there with the bush. That's cool.
Yeah, you can line up your spray alongside that wall, and if you don't have a sword, you can pick up the bush and then walk with it into the water, and it will set up as if you're holding your sword. I think that was just a piece of heart on the island.
Yeah, he's not checking Hobo. Oh,
No, I think I've seen him kind of route in Hobo as a separate thing.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to route it. Primarily with Mirror. Okay, doing the Waterfall Cave, doesn't die, which, for people who don't know, if you get hit during the Fate Flipper state in the Randomizer, you die. In a normal game, you get teleported into the Abyss unless you're on the same stream that you hopped in the water on.
Pretty much.
I don't think it's been discovered any place where that glitch will like put you in a useful position.
It's a fun place to visit, but you don't want to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really nice to get the water walk glitch for this area too, because the terrain automatically lines you up where you can just dash straight across.
Yep.
And a bomb upgrade. Okay.
So hopefully we'll see what's on the ledge, and if I mean, they just got to go to Thieves Town, man.
Yeah, like I definitely respect leaving Thieves Town at times, but when you have the boots and you're not really getting a lot of new progression, it starts to become a much more attractive option. And at the moment, it's looking, besides whatever item the cape is. Oh, actually, I think we found this piece of heart, but right now it's looking like the best option.
You have half magic, cape, and ice rods. I mean, it's not too dangerous.
No, that'll be fine. And pretty much the only thing they need a weapon for is blind, and yeah. So we see them both kind of in Dark World and in the town. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a bit of a Thieves Town sync. Elminster going to Thieves Town.
And acmlm going to Thieves Town.
ACMLM going
to
Thieves Town.
I think they've converged. I think they've checked exactly the same thing. Except for Elminster hasn't checked the purple chest yet. And that's about it. Oh, and acmlm didn't check the... What is it called? There's the bit key.
Yeah, this is good for them. We're starting to see, kind of the same general area that they're in, and from here it'll be really cool to watch how they go about. Again, two very strong players, good execution. So, just the way they move, and even if they take similar options, it'll be fun to watch them go through.
Completely useless flippers. Oh no, they have to go to Ice Palace.
Yeah, but they could have fake flippered, so it'll only be useful if we actually need to go into Swamp.
It looks like we don't have to, but we could. Oh, I hope that they go to Ice.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're still looking for some form of fire. But if they find the lamp or the fire rod, that will open up a lot of options. But if they find bombas, that opens up Ice Palace, with the exception of them not having the hammer.
So acmlm deciding to do the whole thing. Well, Elminster is going to Sequence Break. This could bite him.
I think it should be okay. Being a little adventurous, going to the mountain, but if anything, you get the save point if you don't have the flute. So it can be good to just get you back up here quicker later.
I'm a little freaked out because earlier I joked that this was going to be a very cold seed.
It's okay, I'm here for you.
we
a little comfort.
We found the ice rod, half magic. So we're an ice wizard. We haven't found any heat or light sources. What did I do? I'm so sorry, Elminster and ACM. I have doomed you both.
Yeah, it does seem like a very apt seed so far.
It's a Sequence Break Death Mountain versus Thieves Town, correct. We still need to start to use the coins. Jeez. Well, we can find the fire rod.
Oh, that's true. You need the bombos, or you need a sword for the bombos. It's rubbing off on me. I'm starting to get tripped up.
There's the bombos! Oh, there's the bow!
Okay. Options.
Oh my goodness. Chat doesn't know what to freak out about. This is huge!
I think in this case, the bow is probably the item, but Bombo sets up for future height.
Right.
Oh, and he's going into the blind fight.
With...
Arrows does not work.
I'm pretty sure that Ice Rod doesn't either.
Yeah, I was in a race one time, and I was in this situation. I'm like, wait, what can I hit blind with?
ACM.
So unfortunately, he's... Sorry.
I like that. ACM's like, no? No? Oh, bye.
Well, it's a good time to learn. You can go and learn today. But,
but if he had blue cane, he could have done it.
Yeah, if he had Cane of Burna, he could have done it.
Without half magic. Where's he going? Oh, never mind. It's ACM. That's. I thought
Yeah.
Please forgive me. I'm recovering from death.
A couple minutes, sorry. No, something else that kind of went a little bit understated is that the flippers actually do give access to East Dark World. So acmlm could now, well, both of them could check the pyramid, and they could go into pod. Having the bow, not a light source, but having the bow, it makes that a little bit more appealing.
And Elm is checking that with his flippers. I liked it. But ACM is going to finish up a crystal, so that's a big deal. And I don't remember if they found 3 items or not. I want to say they didn't.
Yeah, and something to note is that when acmlm goes back to blind, he won't get a script pattern. So he'll actually need to do... It'll actually be more of a real fight.
Well, it'll still be a script, it just won't be the script that's practiced.
This is true.
The blind is actually 100% based on your movements. It's not RNG, despite how it feels. I mean, it essentially is, since it is in fact based off your inputs and movement. So
I think how it works is that when the head, and this might not be correct, but when the head is shooting orbs, the first 3 orb directions it shoots are fixed, and then the last one is it tracks you.
Yeah.
Might have messed that up a little bit, but it's something along those lines.
When he lasers and when he like stops and then moves down or up, I think that those are both based on you, like how soon he does it. But that might also be wrong. But that's why the script is so nice to pull off, because you just kill him before he has a chance to decide to move. Elminster using his equipment pretty nicely. He's going to go pick up some extra money.
Yeah, acmlm doing some 360 no scope arrow shots. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, that's actually one of the rooms that look really cool when you do them right. Not everyone knows that you can one cycle both those guys. Gets the one cycle and gets the fire rod. Oh,
fire rod, that's huge. So this is a great play from acmlm. Elminster actually going into Palace of Darkness, but that's very big for ACM.
If Elm finds a sword here, he might still go to eat ice, and I assume that's where ACM might go. He might also go to Skullwoods.
Yeah, he has access to Skullwoods. He also can do Lamola.
Oh yeah, that's there's a lot of options. It looks like he's going to go to check Hobo.
Yeah, he has the fire rod, so he can do Hobo and Ice Palace now. With the exception of the hammer.
He didn't check the initial part, and I don't think that's a bad bet.
Ice without hammer is kind of... It's a little odd. And by odd, I mean you can fill in your choice of word here.
Elminster is gonna. Okay, so that's where he got the bottle. I see.
Okay. So unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but rather, he's opting not to go into Canada Palace. He is saving and quitting.
To go to Skullwoods, which is it's a pendant. Wow, that's cool. 1, 2, and 3 in Dark World were pendants. That's kind of funny. Wait, and Pod was green. That's like, that's weird.
It's a very very interesting seed so far. But ACM gonna go check Sick Kid.
ACM needs to equip silvers. Oh, he had silvers. He did that whole dungeon without them.
That was probably a bad choice though. Just because a lot of the enemies die to an arrow and the silvers cause lag. Although some of them do take multiple hits. He probably just saw fit to not bother switching, but the boss fight he certainly could have done with silvers.
What if he forgets the whole time?
He's forgotten for the moment.
There's nothing that would there's like, unless he pauses in the menu, and his menu is very good. He might legitimately forgot he got silvers. It was like the second item in the seat.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't like to be presumptuous over the racers saying they forgot, because if you miss that silver arrow, then you're getting a lot of game lag. But it seems like it may be the case.
I'm just saying, it would be funny if. I'm not saying that he did. Sure. I'm just saying if by the end of the seat he never pulls them out, I'll be pretty happy. Just for the entertainment factor. Also, I mean, silvers don't actually save that much time. So there's a sword.
There's a sword, and now bombos.
We
know the fire rod, but now that for Elminster, that's one more key to Ice Palace. So still looking for the hammer, but sword is huge.
Also, this will give him the courage to do the dark maze. I don't know if he would have done it without a sword. He would have. Yeah, no, I don't think he would have done it without a sword. Cause it's pretty hard to. You can lose your barons pretty easily here.
ECM, unfortunately, going into Skull. It's not that often that you get here without a sword. So we know what the sword is good for now.
ACM is sorry.
No, I was gonna say, so Elminster is now he needs to go to Eastern to get the fire rod, and ACMLM has the hammer.
Okay, there we go.
So how about that, Ice Palace?
Seems pretty good. Seems like I think we might get a sync. No, he went to Sanctuary. I wasn't sure because the frame that paused was on Lent's house. Where are you going, ACM? Oh, to Pod. Smart kid.
This is a very good play too.
This is gonna turn out really well for him.
He's a strong player, so the lantern won't matter for him. So he'll be able to full clear Pod. It's a green pennant, so we'll have to see it whether he opts for it. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, he can at least complete it.
Yeah, and for anyone wondering, he didn't have the sword, so when he tried to do that hammer dash, he bonked on it. But luckily for him, he will find the sword here. So this will be really, really good for him too.
2 swords in Pod? No, just the one. As far as well, there could be 2 swords, I guess. So Elm is going to end up with the bow very shortly. But he's also going to get to kill Blind.
Yeah, this will be good for Elminster. And he will have the sword, so yeah, he'll be able to finish Blind.
I don't know, I feel like Ice was the correct play just because it's a crystal. Like, you don't have hood shot, so it depends. So sometimes the dungeon's not actually in the lodget, so it is a bit sequence break. And it's pretty hard to like think through. Also, we have our second sword.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. But
I guess Pod did have 2 swords. I just couldn't tell with the negative link sprite.
Yeah. It is worth knowing though that they do have a cape, so the spike area, they actually can get around that. So depending on how Ice Palace goes, I don't think it actually necessarily would be hook shot locked, but it kind of remains to be seen.
Right. Well,
And
it's
yet he does have the Master Sword.
it all depends on where the keys are. Although the dungeon's weird, it does require you sometimes to beat Cold Stare or to mirror. To technically beat the seed. Or so like I've seen it like very rarely where you have to go to Cold Stare to get one more key.
Hey, there's a lantern. It's definitely a convenient find. So none of this is actually a sequence break. Elminster does not seem to have the lantern, especially considering he did the Dark Maze. So, you know, the sword can play a factor, or whichever items he would have gotten behind the Dark Room can play a factor into what's going on. But, yeah, the Death Mountain trip, everything, the logic is definitely straightening out. Elminster entering the blind fight, so get to knock out that crystal, and that'll be one step closer to Pyramid Fairy. Still looking for hookshot or a mirror to get to the mountain though, before they can get the Hera crystal. But they do have a hammer, so if they find the mirror, then they do get access to pretty much all of Death Mountain.
He's really low on health. I hope he switches to the cape. Or is he just going to handle it? One of the two. But I'd have switched to the cape.
Oh, and Blind has the flute. So we couldn't watch the fight. It seemed like he probably did really well following the script I mentioned. But Blind has the flute.
Holy shoot.
So with the flute, with the sword, and with the medallion, he can go check Mire area.
Could maybe like enter it. He has the boots. Oh, this is so crazy.
Yeah, he has the boots, so you can enter it. He doesn't have a fire source though.
Ooh.
Like for a gamble into Mire, having the fire source, you pretty much like.
Agreed.
I don't think most people would go into Mire without at least a fire source, but things are definitely starting to open up a little bit, and yet there is the Master Sword in the Dark Maze.
That's where you got the Master Sword, okay. So will ACMLM kill Helmasaur? That's a big question. Elminster grabbing that, and then I think will he grab this and then go to ice? I'm really curious when he goes to ice.
Well,
Or was that hammer?
He doesn't have the hammer yet, so yeah, I don't think it's on the table for him just yet, but it's going to turn the purple chest, so no ACM opts out of cashing in for Helmasaur. I don't think we got a pistol check either, so it would be a little bit more of an investment.
Right. Well, a pistol check for Elman is like, oh, he's going to Mire area at least. It is required pendant, so. And here we go.
Yeah, it's a good quick check. You can check the medallion, you can get at least 2 items. But ACMLM going to Canada Palace.
My favorite
has
place.
Everything he needs except potentially a hookshot.
This is my favorite dungeon because it's so good to watch a good runner go through this dungeon.
It's really fun, actually. Some people really hate ice physics or little things, but I kind of just view it as a separate mechanic, not expecting to necessarily move perfectly or go quickly, and so it can be kind of fun to learn how to do it in its own right. But
Yeah,
it's definitely a very polarizing dungeon.
I do think it's my favorite palace in the entire game.
Yeah, just to kind of explain to chat, all commentators and racers are currently Canadian. So just having a little fun with that.
It's also the middle of winter, so
Yeah, so everyone's honorary Canadian, I guess.
for well,
Just apologize and say A.
for except for Elm. Elm, it's probably nice where he is because he's in southern Ontario. Could be wrong, but I feel like he's Ontarian, which means he's not very cold. That makes me feel bad because I want to live in a warm place. Please adopt me.
Yeah, we from where I am, we kind of have a joke that we have 2 seasons: construction and winter.
Yep.
But Elminster, Inmire, acmlm making its way through ice.
And first try bomb jump.
Yeah, that's good. There's a couple of ways you can do that bomb jump, without getting into it too much. But it's a very good bomb jump to learn. It's probably the quintessential bomb jump one should learn if they're playing rando, and it's not as hard as it looks. That can be a little tricky to set up, and of course, you know, every mistake can be costly.
Not chicken freezer or chest, or probably will, but not in the way that is normal.
I'm from Alberta.
Zelda's confirmed Montreal. No, Zelda's confirmed Winnipeg.
So acmlm setting up the hookshot bomb jump. And that's very good.
Just ignoring that. You're gonna check. Ignoring those spites. Who cares about them? Spites are nothing.
Yeah, and it doesn't break the logic not having the hookshot simply because they do have the cape.
Mirror.
Mirror is a pretty good find.
I mean, for him specifically, that's a pretty big deal. Like that dip into Meyer, you're the one who said it wasn't a good idea.
I mean, less of a good idea.
Yeah, both runners are making progress, which is interesting considering they're taking such different routes.
Yeah, the way it's a very interesting see because they've both gotten very different progression and both are paying off really well so far.
ACMLM might have to do hammer stare. Unless he finds... Oh no, he has master... Never mind. Right, he has master sword, which is fine. It's actually probably still better to hammer him if you know how to.
Yeah, I imagine acmlm probably knows the low percent strategy for cold stare, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's still not very fun though.
Alternatively, he just shoots the fire rod and after one spin...
Yeah, just pew 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 and down goes cold stare.
If he times it right, I think you can hit all 3. If you time everything right in the fight, you can get all 3 of them hit with the initial fire shots. You can kill them before they have a chance to move.
Yeah, with half magic in the fire rod, he won't have any issue. Elminster making immediate good use of his mirror checking checkerboard cave. I don't think we got to see it, but good on him.
Looks like with the hammer, or with the bow, we're gonna see the end of Ice Palace of Eastern, which is gonna give him the fire rod. which might also send him to ice.
Yeah, this is really good for him. Getting his fire rod.
Hood shot's pretty important for both these runners right now because that will, I think, put them in go mode. It would put us in no mode at least.
Well,
Samara,
we still need the Cannon Samara. The thing is that we have the mirror, so we might not see Hookshot for a little while because now they can get up to Hera, they can check the tablet, they can get over to East Death Mountain, and they can check Darkhold Death Mountain.
Right.
So the mirror is very important for Elminster. ACMLM eventually will get there, but he'll have the benefit of a fire source.
Like that. Okay, so exactly what ACMLM just did there. Hit pretty much all of them, and he's just gonna pop his potion.
Yeah, you may as well. And something that people might not think of is when a battle fights, your health and magic refills. So if you actually pop a potion, even though it takes time to use the potion and then you're using the potion itself, you don't have to wait through that refill. So it does save some frames there.
And he's thinking, he saves and quits.
Yeah, interestingly for Elminster, this is actually a sequence break in his mind unless he is assuming a location of the lantern. Little things like that can really kind of trip you up the longer a sea goes on and the more things you do. You can kind of deduce what's going on, but for some people it can send you for a little bit of a head spin.
Well, for people who can do dark rooms, lamp is kind like once he gets his fire out, he'll stop caring about the lamp because the lamp is sometimes a fire source. ACMLM check-in lumberjack for the first time.
Yeah. I just meant it's more so the way the information presents itself to you in deducing other locations. Obviously, they're very skilled, so dark room's not too much of an issue, I'm sure.
I'll be interested to see if Elm does ends up having to do dark mire because that is a dark room. That first one is a room that I cannot do without dying or bottles. Takes me so long to find that switch.
It can definitely be tricky. There's a couple of setups for it, but it's one that like a lot of dark rooms you can kind of just wing it. That one you kind of want a little bit of knowledge going in. But yeah, very good for Elminster. Has his fire rod, and it looks like he is going back to them. Oh no, he's going to kill Lamola. Meanwhile, ACMLM checking Spike Cave. Oh, checking the mountain. He hasn't been here. Okay. So he'll get his bombos and then potentially check Spike Cave.
Who knows what Elminster is doing? We do. He does us enough frames. I hate having to go in this cave, by the way, because I actually don't know if it's faster to save and quit, or if it's to walk back through.
For which Spike Cave?
No, for this cave. It turns out it's save and quit based on what CMLM is doing.
Save time to what though? Like to go out to food?
To go back. Oh yeah, he doesn't have the mirror. To go, to leave that dungeon.
Well, I know you can bomb jump across, but I guess it depends on what you're doing.
I think it's like frame. I've been told it's like super frame perfect bomb jump. Like it's the hardest bomb jump you can do.
It's not. It's actually very simple. You have to get your X coordinate axis right, but then after that, you probably have like a 6-pixel window to place the bomb and stand. Like it's super free. Like you can get your lineup, hold back, and then while you're holding back, place the bomb, let go of, and be in the general area.
Oh.
It looks very impressive because it's a 3-tile gap, but you're actually clipping into the wall, and shenanigans happen. And yeah. I do like the narrative though. That's the hardest one to do.
And ACM running up here, gonna get his flute. Has the Master Sword beam, so you can just... Well, doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, this will be good for him. He'll get his flute. And chat is asking which bomb jump. The Spectacle Rock bomb jump. What you can do is you can hold your sword out and then you line it up with the tablet. If you have the fighter sword, you want the white part to be touching the black outline. If you have any other upgrade, you want one part of it to be overlapping the black part. I believe DT and GamerCal actually came up with that bomb jump, but basically you line up with your sword, hold back, and then you want to be approximate to the gap. There is hookshot for Elminster.
Oh, that's gonna give him access to everything on the mountain. So now well, ACMLM, well, that's hookshot is behind the mirror. So is a required double dip, as far as we know. As of right now, it's a required double dip into Mire, into Crystal Mire, but that's pretty weird because people hate Mire and they hate double dipping it.
I don't know why people hate Mire. I think it was definitely a gamble for him to enter Mire without a light source.
Oh, for sure.
ACMLM won't have that worry, so to him it'll probably be a lot more obvious to go for, but it's very peculiar. Mirror was blocking the hook shot.
And so for it's a seeds like this where I feel bad for new players, because not everybody knows that Bonkin is like part of the logic, because Bonkin isn't actually a glitch. It's a completely intended mechanic by the devs of the game. You can tell because it's in Ganon's tower. So
so we have Swag Duck. Goose is loose for ACMLM, and he is going to Mire area. So he has Bombos, so he'll get to check this real quick. Check Mire area, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in. Elminster on Moldorm. Has the Master Sword. Shouldn't be an issue. Unfortunately, he still does not have the Fire Rod, so he still needs to go to Skull. He got a lot of items really quickly, so that really opened up the world for him. So it's definitely going to be curious to see how Elminster chooses to play this.
Oh, Elm needs the hammer from Stallwoods, and then you can actually do Fat Fairy.
That's very true.
I kind of hope we find Kane, though, like here. That would be a pretty sweet go mode, considering the seed felt so slow for the first, 40 minutes.
Kane and Mire?
Oh, it could be. That would be unfortunate for Elm.
No, sir, I was asking because I thought you said Kane here.
Oh, no, Kane on Death Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess Kane here. Kane on either of those locations is pretty good. Pretty good troll seed there.
Yeah, because Elminster couldn't check the fire areas of this dungeon. ACMLM will. We know at least one of the items is Mire. I don't know if we saw the other item. So Elminster in Paradox Cave here. Ooh, we found Temper. Some money. And blueberries. Very good bomb jump from Elminster. An easy way to set that bomb jump is if you set up your Y coordinate first, if you go to the bomb ledge and then try and set up the X coordinate where you're holding back, the game will create a little bit of a barrier for you. So even if you mispress or press forward a little bit too much, well, backward because you're holding the sword, it'll kind of, it's a little bit of a failsafe.
Oh, we're not going to see the chest that... Oh, my favorite chest.
Aw. Which chest is that?
Spiral Cave. It's my favorite chest. It's because I like one specific show. so I like spirals.
So, so your favorite chest is spiral, but your favorite dungeon is ice.
Yes. None of the chests in ice are cool. They're all kind of mean. Like they're in different spots, but the dungeon's really cool to do. I enjoy doing the dungeon. But the favorite chest is Spiral Cave.
Very weird chest. But that makes sense. So ACMLM able to get the big key here from Meyer. Does not have a cane, so he cannot finish, but in the search for items, he'll be able to at least check everything.
Yeah.
And when they do complete Meyer, he'll be able to go straight to Vitreous.
I think they found the big key was locked behind the fire chest. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so Elminster doesn't have the big key. But Ether, Franklin badge, Screw Attack happens to be in the medallion for Torok.
Ooh. Oh wow, I didn't realize that's totally Screw Attack. Wow. Okay. That's probably intentional, honestly. No, Nintendo.
So ACMLM finding a bottle, so there is nothing in Meyer. They just need to come here to get the crystal.
Well, oh, nothing other than mirror, right? Okay.
Yeah, pardon me.
I was like, the mirror is pretty important here.
No, definitely. So looks like he's gonna go and complete Lamola first before Checkerboard Cave.
Oh, I like this play from Elm. Wait, where is he going? Oh no, my dude!
My dude.
What are you doing? Skull Woods!
I think he believes that a pyramid fairy will have his worth.
Oh no!
But we know the hammer is in Skull Woods.
This only pays off if he finds Kane. Oh no, and even then. Well, we got an ad. Oh, he's doing it dark. My okay.
Oh, okay. That's good.
He's like, wait a second here.
Yeah. Okay. So, as exciting as a slideshow Agatar would be, this is very good for him. That forced him out of the dungeon. The boots would speed up Agatar, but without the lamp, it's not very fun, and it's certainly not part of the logic. So that tells Elminster, okay, hold on. Maybe getting a little ahead of myself, and now he's going into Dark World Kakariko. So hopefully now he's going to Skull Woods.
I think he is. I think it just took him a bit to realize he could. Woo.
That was really important for him, though.
Yep.
Again, not having the lantern actually forced him into the exact right situation. Had he had that lantern, it wouldn't have been very good.
I was like, oh, please don't continue with this. This would be a bad plan. Like, Dark Room Ada is like, the only time that Dark Tower is a good idea, and I think that I've seen like very, very good runners say this, the only time that that's a good idea is if you know that Adnam gives you progression. So specifically if the Lumberjack Cave has your go mode item, then you do it. Like...
Yeah, exactly. I was originally like trying to figure out a situation, like the items that you would want or acquire in order to make Agatower actually a prudent thing to go through without the lamp, but it's a very rare combination.
Yeah. It's pretty much just like go mode. I think that's what most people agree on. If your go mode item is an Adnam, attempt it. If you have Fire Rod, like if it is the last item you need. Just because it's such a bad dungeon to do. If you don't have Fire Rod, if you have Fire Rod, sometimes it's correct, but very rarely.
Yeah, the Fire Rod can definitely help in the Dark Rune too. That's very true.
The hammer is in the bat chest, like the bad chest of this dungeon, which is the other. Wow, that was really good.
That's a very good fight from Elminster. Oh wow. Okay, so. We know that in the chest there is the hammer, but Mothula, which ACMLM could not do without the sword, has ether. So whereas it was kind of, like ACMLM is really well poised, and now he's even getting his hook shot, Elminster now has the coin. And Elminster is about to get the hammer. Still no Samaria for Torok, but still, this is really big for him. Because that's just one thing, right? That's Skullwitz. ACMLM just got the hook shot and other stuff. We don't know when he's going to go back to Mothula.
Whew. I'm glad he remembered he didn't see an item and he checked that chest. That's good.
And chat is saying this is the worst seed. I kind of want to disagree, but
well, unless this is Tina
maybe I'm a viewer.
Oh no, it's my myth is no triple boom. We did.
So no pet hype today. So now Elminster is making his trip into Ice. It's Crystal Dungeon, so definitely a good choice here.
Yep. We haven't seen... Oh, we did see everything. So where's Go Mode then? Or where's the Cane? Where are its possibilities? I guess Pendant Swamp, unfortunately.
Swamp is definitely a very good option.
Oh, you know what? I think it has to be there, actually.
Well, there is Palace of Darkness. They did not finish Helmasaur and the Green Pendant, but Swamp, in terms of item density, is very rich at the moment. And they do have the mirror. ACMLM did just get the hook shot for him, so he might be thinking that Swamp is a strong play.
These ones have been very different. Like, I haven't seen a race this, varied in a long time. Where each runner has just gone completely different routes.
Yeah, it's very entertaining because it really looked like oh, okay, well, maybe ACMLM has a good advantage here, whichever, and Elminster kind of getting item locked. Then ACM got item locked, and now just the way things have gone, it's really it's very, very entertaining.
ACM board and actually dodging the tiles. Doesn't want to take a break. Okay, and he's about to open the Disappointment 20.
Yeah, so ACMLM now going to check the right side Death Mountain. So he does have the hammer in the glove. He'll be able to activate the portal, and then he will learn that he needs ether.
Oh yeah, and what Jacob was saying, this race is basically for a bracket spot. Baron Hippo winning his only game versus ACM. Or, sorry, winning his game versus ACM, which would be his only win in the group. Hippo getting put into a pretty difficult group with ACMLM, considered one of the best rando runners, period. And also a very good vanilla player. Elminster, very good cross game runner. Top tier, honestly. He does think that he's behind in this group, technically. And then Amazing Afros, who's probably one of the smartest dudes when it comes to routing and efficiency. So this group was really hard.
Yeah, this match is especially important because if Elminster wins, I do believe that he moves on with Amazing Ampharos into brackets. So if you're hoping for epic tiebreakers, then you might want to root for ACMLM. But either way, very good runners, both deserving of a win.
Yeah, I mean, every group was completely stacked, to be honest. Like, that's just kind of how this process worked. I mean, we started with like 300 runners, and then we got down to 100, and then from there, we're down to, I want to say it was like 40, and then from there, we're going to be down to 16. And I don't think that anybody can claim that the 40 are, that any of the 40 were bad runners. I think that would be a silly thing to say.
Uh-huh. No, definitely a lot of solid runners. And of course, given the nature of Rando, even a lot of solid runners that didn't make it that far, they're still excellent players.
Yep.
Yeah, so ACMLM going through Paradox, he'll get his items, and Elminster finishing up Ice. He's in a little bit of a better position, just given that he had a hookshot and he has the Tempered Sword, so can opt to use different strategies here. And of course, he didn't need to bother with the bomb jump.
Ooh, there he gets his tempered. That's going to feel good after some of the bosses he's had to kill. Of course, Elminster's going to have a much easier time with cold.
Yeah, so ACM saving, quitting out. And let's see where he goes. Oh, I think he might be going for Swamp. Something that people might not be aware of is the direction which you enter warp can actually change how long it takes for the warp to load you into the Dark World.
Huh?
So that warp right there, if you enter in from the left side, will be a quick warp, which is about 30 frames faster. I think when you kill Aghanim, it actually changes which property of the warp is a quick warp. But one quick way to find out which way you need to enter the warp to trigger a quick warp is you can activate the quick warp thing in the practice ROM. But yeah, so for example, that one right there, you have to enter in from the left. In Kakariko, you also have to enter in from the left.
Oh.
So if you like, you might notice why some players will kind of do a little extra little motion or make the effort to go to the left, and you're like, well, that's kind of strange. It's because they're trying to get the quick warp. And on Death Mountain, the area where you normally, like after you get the mirror, and then you're going up to Hera, you want to go in from the right.
Oh yeah, and one thing that we kind of, he's checking dark sewers. Oh, nothing at the ferry. So one thing we actually never mentioned, so related to pumping, we did go over pretty thorough pumping talk earlier. We may as well add in, when you're moving up staircases that are multiple pixels wide, if you like mash the diagonals, like it doesn't matter which ones, it doesn't matter how you're going up or down the ladder, if you just mash them, you basically move, because it's like it alternates between 1 and 0 if you're moving just straight up for frames for movement. So that's another easy trick to learn that can speed you up just a little bit. Just do a little jiggle up the staircase.
Yeah, there's a lot of different forms of pumping. There's wall pumping, going up the wall, stair pumping, air pumping, water pumping, earth pumping, fire pumping. There's a lot of different pumping techniques that you can do, but there are little optimizations that can, play over the course of a run.
I feel like you made up at least 2 of those.
That's true. Heart pumping. Reading the chat.
That's just me trying to do Silverless Ganon.
That's yeah. That was me like the entire tournament.
Oh, and there's the bud catching net. Nope, doesn't want the bud catching net.
Nope.
We won't be seeing any joke pickups here because the Elminster especially knows that he, or at least I'm pretty sure based on when he was talking about Ampharos, he said that he specifically thinks that he's actually the underdog in this group, or one of them. So he's definitely making doubles and going into Swamp is a good play, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of items in Swamp. They've gotten pretty much all the elements to it. It's a longer dungeon, so a lot of players don't like to go into it. And the odds of Swamp actually having a good item are in some ways a lot lower than other areas. But just given the way the seed's gone, I think it's a very smart decision.
Oh, ACM finally doing Skullwoods, which he was denied earlier.
Yeah, so this is good for him. He'll get his Ether Medallion, but we're still looking for the Cane of Samara.
This is one of those seeds where, like, the question who's in the lead is pretty modular, honestly. It's very, very difficult to tell who would be in the lead in this seed.
Well, for a long time, it's starting to look like ACM had an advantage, but he's opted to check a lot of other little locations. Whereas if Elminster finds the cane here, then he pretty much can just go straight to Byre, and then he can go straight to Tarok.
Right. The biggest troll for both these runners would be Green Pennant holding the cane, because both of them have opted not to return to pod anytime soon. ACM actually had the chance to kill Helmasaur, but didn't.
Yeah, in the event that the Green Pennant has the cane, it bodes better for ACM because he has opted to check a lot of little spots. Elminster will be, he might suspect and go for it, but there's also the potential that he might go for other areas too.
Right. Statistically, though, it's probably in Swamp, just due to item density and what's left. It's not a pretty high chance of being here. That's legit kind of the weird conundrum with Swamp is it's got so many item locations, and some people think of the seeds wrong. You need to think of dungeons as how many chests they have, not how many potential items they have. I mean, you have to think about both, but oh, there's Powder. That could have the cane.
Yeah. ACM doing his ped check, Elminster finding the powder, and something occurred to me. Did we ever check the dark room in Escape?
We just did, yes. Elminster checked it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just super framey, but I definitely remember seeing him in there. I remember seeing him light it up and then frozen there, and then ended up leaving the castle, so...
Whenever you're kind of looking for that one item that you really need, or you're making a gamble that you're a little suspect on, the dungeon music always does it for me. It just gets really tense.
Oh, ACM checked a hammer cave. We haven't seen this. There's a lot of little things that we haven't checked as lack of hammer, which has been a weird item to miss.
Yeah, it's kind of... like, it's good to get a lot of progression, but at the same time, it can really trip you up just because it's like, well, now I can check everything. What do I do?
Another one is Spike Cave. They haven't had the hammer for so long that Spike Cave was never really convenient.
Yeah, there was the time when acmlm was on the mountain and he saw bombos. He could have checked Spike Cave, but opted not to.
Aces High 76, I won't speak for the devs, but from what I've read, they have had that suggestion about Seshrilla quite a few times. But they've said no, that's not really... Item hints aren't really a thing that will ever be in the normal mode of the game. They've considered putting them in easy or having it as a selectable option. But I am not a dev, but as what I remember.
So this is kind of the sticky part of Rando, when a lot of people seem to think that dungeons, like, oh, well, dungeons have the worth going to dungeons. But then there are the times where you go into the dungeon and Catfish had your item, or the Talent had your item, and then all of a sudden you just wasted a ton of time going into a dungeon looking for an item. It's never fun, but it looks like ACMLM is banking on the fact that he might find something in Overworld instead of jumping into Swamp, because Swamp does take a long time. Elminster's been here for quite a while, but if the cane is here, he's definitely making very, very good tracks here.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind is that they're actually probably checking about the same amount of items in about the same amount of time. And it wasn't on Overworld, it looks like, so we're gonna see what fits in Swamp. And then obviously Spike Cave.
Yeah, he's opting for Swamp now here. So we know that a lot of the Overworld did not have what he's looking for, so we're just waiting. And waiting.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we see him not in Swamp, if we don't see the item pick up, if he leaves Swamp, we know he got the cane.
This is true.
There it is!
There's the cane.
We're in go mode. Sorry, headphone users.
Sorry, not sorry. But sorry.
No, I'm actually sorry, chat.
We're sorry.
Apologies. Feels bad.
Feels bad, eh?
Feels bad, A in the chat, please.
So ACMLM on the way to get the cane, but so kind of like what was being mentioned, a lot of these overworld locations, they could have been the cane, but they weren't the cane. Elminster, even though Swamp took forever, has that dungeon down. He doesn't have to worry. He is in go mode. So he's about a dungeon ahead of ACMLM. And to think, we almost had an Aghanim Tower. It's been a very crazy seed.
Yeah, this seed has been all over, and it's not even that long. Like, I mean, honestly, it's not gonna be a 2-hour seed. It's gonna be like a 145. It looks like they've had access to this dungeon for a while. I mean, that's why I kind of like Elminster play. So that earlier, I kind of glossed over it, but thinking about dungeons as number of locations versus number of items helps sometimes, because so ACMLM checked like, I don't know, 5 or 6 chests in the overworld, for example, but Elminster checked 9 chests. If you consider dungeon items, so compass and map, as like, I don't know, mid-20s, so completely useless items, then can kind of picture why runners choose to go to dungeons more often instead of considering, like, there are tons of useless items in the overworld as well. They just happen to give you 20 money sometimes. At least that's how I think of it. I'm not the best runner, but
like, I think that ACMLM definitely made a good decision, because you're thinking, okay, well, do I do a 10-minute dungeon, you know, or do it, you know, it can be a little tricky, because if you do find the item right away, it's like, oh, well, I spent like 30, 60 seconds checking this one thing. I just saved 9 minutes.
Correct. I also I'm on the same page. I think that it's it's really hard to say. There's nothing wrong with either of their decisions in this case. There it is. There's his go mode.
ACMLM is officially in go mode. Elminster is in a little bit of a faux mode, but we know he's in go mode. He doesn't have to worry about dark rooms. You know, they won't be a problem for him. They might slow him down just a little bit, but for him as a player, I know he doesn't care about the lantern.
He will have to manage his magic a little bit more than ACM will in the end game, but not by much.
Yeah, thankfully the half magic makes like the end torches and all that stuff not too big of an issue. But it is true, the lantern is a lot easier to use. And things for like doing torch glitch, if you don't time the fire rod shot right, then you can be in a world of hurt world of hurt for magic.
So this is the hardest room, the room that Elminster's in by far.
Yeah, there's two, from what I know, there's 2 good ways to set up the room. You can kind of go and follow the left wall, and then tap down, lift up the pot, put the cane, and you should hit a switch. The other way is that you can go to the very bottom of the screen, hit the block, and then chuck it towards where the switch is, and that should do it. So it's not too bad, but if you get thrown off or if you get hit, it can add up a lot of time and frustration. For the second room, it's basically just getting to the door. And for the third room, it's probably the most intimidating one for most people because there's a spike trap that moves along and you need to kind of maneuver. But a really good trick for people to do is you hold up left into that dark room and you listen for your character to get hit twice. If you get hit twice, like the room that acmlm is in right now, if you wait until you get hit twice, you will actually be in the right position to press down, lift at the pot, and then you can go through the door.
Yeah, I think that the rest of the rooms are fine because there's more like visual cue, but with just the fire dice shooting at you, the first room is like rough because that switch isn't in. It's just in the middle of the room. It's kind of weird how like subtle design choices by the devs and like the original ALTTP devs, not the randomizer devs, kind of played into this randomizer being so good. Like some dark rooms are easy because you can just kind of hold against walls. You can base it on enemies, but some rooms like that one, there's no hints. You just gotta memorize the movement.
Yeah, it's very poetic in the way the game actually came out. Chat is wondering, how did ACM catch up so much? ACM came in with a fire source, so he was able to get the big key. Elminster did not, so he actually had to go through more of the dungeon. So these races are a lot closer than it looked. I said that Elm was basically a dungeon ahead in Swamp, but I forgot that bit. Sorry. But no, it's still a very close race. And again, these runners have strong execution and they're known for their execution. So pretty much that's what we're looking forward to here. It's a very tight race. Every frame matters.
Why are we in the map? Were we in the map for a second, or was I crazy? Was that like the warp?
Well, Death Mountain, it's a little confusing. I mean, the old man got lost too, right? So
right.
I know sometimes, like after a race has gone on for a long time, and if you don't have a tracker, you're kind of like, wait, this is a crystal, right? I make sure before I jump in.
Oh, poor people who've done 8 crystals in one match before.
So we're about a Turtle Rock activation apart.
Yeah, roughly that. I'm sure somebody in chat always, there's always at least one person. Split Onions and Quake. Thank you. See, there's always the one person. 132, yeah, they're like under half a minute apart. Is this teleport hacking allowed in this tournament? I assume that you're joking, but Elminster just has internet issues, usually during the middle of the day, which is what it is, like around this time.
You know, you have to be really skilled in order to splice mid-run. That's just, it's like, you may as well just give it to them at that point.
Now, keep in mind that because of this, Elminster is always like a few seconds technically behind, stream-wise. Like right now, he's about 5 or 6 seconds. So this is even closer than it looks. And if you weren't paying attention, acmlm and Elminster actually took different paths. So they are actually a little bit further apart than some of you just pointed out.
Yeah, their timers aren't correctly synced either. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a variance, but it's still, in general, very close. And, you know, again, there's the Gown Tower. There's a lot of little things. Execution and also decision-making left.
Yeah, and a little bit of RNG, like with these guys. Everyone's favorite Mario cameo.
There's such a cool enemy, and they're only in one room, and they are a pain.
Well, if you play Link's Awakening, you get one as a pet, so that's pretty cool.
Something about that room is that because the chomps are they move around with the RG, with the different RNG patterns. The way you actually execute that room changes the moment you enter it.
Yep.
Something like a Brahmini block blast you cannot do depending on how the block move or the chain chomp moves.
Like they always move. They always do their charge. I think at the same time. Like they will always charge at the same time from the moment you enter the room. But it's everything else is completely random. So where they move, why they move. The only thing that's determined is when they pause and they charge at you. They'll always go towards you. So room is really hard to like learn.
Yeah, and as we go through this series of tubes, the room that acmlm and Elminster are currently in, to my understanding, actually has 16 different RNG patterns, and one Mr. Blunt Bunny went through the effort of learning every single RNG pattern, and I believe made a video on it too. So if you're looking to optimize that a little bit more, then definitely hit him up for that.
Yeah. If you are wanting to learn like a lot of simple tricks or things that can be very easily learned, nothing too complicated, I think
Shovel.
Blunt Bunny. Ooh, nice. Blunt Bunny's got a pretty comprehensive like video set. Blunt Bunny, Scrivo, Andy, and Super Studge. Super Studge for glitches, by the way. If you want to learn glitches, those are the guys.
There are a ton of people that you can hit up, and especially if you're looking to improve at rando, I'll always say it, and I know Zelna's mentioned it a little bit earlier, but definitely learn the vanilla speedrun. It's a lot of fun, and it's directly practical into playing Randomizer, because if you think about it, these two players are very smart, very good, and they also have good execution, but if they didn't have the same execution, there would be a lot more of a disparity between the two of them. So, whereas Rando can kind of troll you or be a little bit, more random, execution is something you can directly control, and you can directly augment your play. You can change your input to affect the output and to affect your outcome. So definitely give it a try.
Even you don't even need to do a run. Just learning the tricks and stuff, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah, it looked like Elminster had a little trouble in that dark room, but was thankfully able to salvage it.
It's actually to grab the safety.
Yeah, this is very smart.
I have no idea his plan. What is he looking for? Health, I guess?
Looking for a key, I believe.
Oh, the key. Right. Actually, he opened up that room and then didn't use it.
So this is a solid fight from acmlm.
Okay.
Elminster not too far behind.
So, we have a tradition in the rando community where we like to guess the position of the bit key in Dan's Tower. If you've, like the bot says, if you subbed to the channel or cheered 250 bits ever across the channels, then you are entered in, and if you're the first one to guess the correct location in Dan's Tower, 1 between 22, you win.
So what are you thinking on this?
I think today it will be 22.
22?
Yeah. Then we get to watch more execution. That's why I picked 22. It's no troll. I just want to see them play more.
But then their decisions change and they both sync up. But that's very true. That's a very good point. 22 would be fun. I'll say 18 to be different.
Also, 22 generally evens out. Like, doesn't matter what route they take. I hate it when the GT route completely screws a runner. So I like it. I wish it was always in 22. No, I mean, because then we wouldn't see Dan's Tower. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to opt to go to the right side. Elminster, 2 extra slashes on Trinex, but otherwise still a good fight. And if you guessed number 1, you are having a good day today.
Welp. And a small T. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know in OOT it's 23 is number one, but maybe 22 is actually a number one or some other clever joke here.
Woo.
And Elminster making his way through the Grandma Centaurs, and acmlm is climbing the tower.
Oh, this is nerve-wracking. This is not a jet seed. I don't know what you're thinking. This is nowhere near a jet seed. This is pretty average, though. It's a pretty average seed. Jet GT, though. Holy crap. So yeah, the gauntlet is probably the hardest part to learn casually, even. It is an extremely difficult set of rooms. If you die, you end up at the back of Ganon's tower. There are very little safeties. There's one. So this, right where acmlm is, this is what's called the gauntlet. Is everything after that ball run is a set of rooms. You have to kill every enemy or light torches, depending on the room.
And Elminster went right too, so he's not going to lose any time compared to acmlm, but this is all execution. This is all huge. Yep. These rooms are difficult, the 5 that acmlm are in, because if you mess them up, you can lose a lot of time here, but they're normally not too bad. There's a lot of little strategies you can do, but there is the potential.
There's a lot of RNG involved as well. So, like, especially the way that those guys move is completely random. All the enemies in the gauntlet. So it's sort of like an adaptation. The first 5 rooms are like combat adaptation, and then the next rooms between Moldorm and the Lamolus are more like puzzles. Because the enemies are always in the same spot, and so there's actually ways that you can do these rooms very quickly. With the cane there, as you saw, you can do that in both rooms, where you can set it up so that you one cycle the whiz robes.
Yeah, to quote Super Scudge, the reason why the cane was made, or the room the cane was designed for.
Right. I mean, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually true. If like the way that the cane, like why does the cane split? That doesn't even. It's supposed to make blocks. Well, it makes for a cool weapon.
Well, for as much as a lot of people love to kind of rag on the game and call it broken and whatnot, there again, it's kind of, there is a large poeticism to how the game is made, and some things in the game are definitely very smart. You know, especially given how old the game is, it's held up very well, and tons of little tricks and tech and things you can do. I think that's why it's so very near and dear to many people's hearts, just because of. You know, like you can see for yourself, right? Like using the King Mario there, and using the wall to line things up.
I think the biggest thing is just how well designed the game is. Considering it had no tutorial, the game just kind of teaches you, like, casually. I think that an experience that is very difficult to get nowadays is playing the vanilla game without any guides, completely blind. It's a very difficult experience to emulate. This game is extremely different if you have no idea where to go.
So, finding the burrito in validation chest, you know, like it or leave it, people like the validation chest. So, you know, for many, that you can rest easy. But real quick, acmlm killed Moldorm 2 off screen. When you watch Moldorm, you can actually, as he's exploding, when his sprite disappears, that is the perfect time to set up for the hookshot. Because he was off screen, you kind of have to guess to when the perfect time to shoot the hookshot is. So it's kind of one of those real little subtle things, but if you can kill Moldorm in a slightly better position, it actually can save more time.
Okay, acmlm gets a triple, and then has a little bit of a tougher other two.
Yeah, it was still really good. Aghanim 2, it's another one of those fights, kind of like La Mola, where, you know, if you can get the double triple, that's great. And then sometimes Aghanim just says no.
I'd like to point out that both runners are here at full health. I know that they both grabbed the fair, but they really didn't take that much damage. This has been a really, really good run.
No, this has been an awesome run. And again, Elminster just an Aghanim 2 behind, but, you know, execution. If acmlm plays well, he could very well have this in the bag. And it's very exciting from here. He's already on phase 3, doing very well. I believe that was 1 cycle first phase and 1 cycle second phase.
I'd like to remind you, the guys, that this doesn't put Elminster out unless ACMLM wins. ACMLM has to win his other game to get into the tournament, and that's far enough ball.
That was so scary.
About to happen.
He missed the torch glitch, and then he hit the other one. But again, I was teleporting. Had he been just like a fraction of a second later, he might have gotten hit by Ganon and fell.
Okay, there we go.
But it looks like he finished the fight and should be winning this.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't pull a dumb and fall down the hole, which can happen.
It's yeah. Sorry, I think it's the position in which you stand, but you can actually get a glitch where you're not actually locked into that animation. And ACMLM will take first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Wow.
So, what an exciting match. Bit of a roller coaster. CMLM looking very strong, both looking very strong, and Elminster seeming to pull ahead, and then just a little back and forth. It's a very solid race. And this is huge for ACMLM too, because again, Elminster is not out. ACMLM could have been out.
ACMLM has to win his other game, and if he does, then it is him and Amazing Afros in the next round. If he loses his other game, then that means it is a 3-way tie between Elminster, ACMLM, and I want to say, and Gerdo, I think.
Yeah, Gerdo. And Elminster finishes with an official second place time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 45 seconds. Can we get maybe a GG story A in the chat for if anyone feels like being a bit of a sport out there for it? It's a very, very good run by him, especially when you consider things like double dip, Moth, double dip, Meyer.
Also, I guess while we're waiting for the runners to come in here, I'll say thank you everyone for supporting the channel. I'd like to remind everyone that there's actually a Discord now for Speed Gaming. People hang out in there. There's going to be daily races starting on Monday. So every single day at, I want to say 2, 7, and 11 or something like that Eastern, there'll be a group race open to everyone, and it will be featured on the channel. So if you practice good, maybe you'll end up right in one of these 2-player spots. Featured on the stream. On top of that, I believe that, as far as I know, there's an open Patreon now as well. So there's another way to support Speed Gaming. Feasel and crew really deserve it, so I would highly recommend that. And if you want to see more Randomizer from individual people, ACMLM and Elminster run both ALTTP and other games as well.
Yeah, it looks like we're setting up. Elminster said he's willing to do a quick interview, and it looks like he just got into the waiting room. So congratulations for finishing, Mr. Elminster. Sorry that you're just a little bit behind, but you played wonderfully. How are you?
Oh, man, that seed.
It was...
that seed was horrible.
It was a seed. I think it was a little bit more horrible for you than the ACMLM just because of routing. But you're really close. Like, you were really far for a while, and then you were really far ahead for a while, and then you guys were like tied up pretty much when you found Kane.
Oh man, I pretty much threw it away at the end because I kind of figured that I really didn't think this was going to be that close because a seat felt truly but linear, and I felt like I'd spent way too much time doing overworld.
Oh, ACMLM spent way more time doing Overworld than you.
Yeah, I think you'll get a special kick out of rewatching the the game, but you two actually had completely different games for the entire mid game. You got the sword, ACM didn't have a sword, but then he got the skull early. But then when you went to skull, you got both hammer and the medallion. Like, just the way that the entire thing played out, you two were on entirely different tracks. You both got progression leading to different areas at different times, requiring different double dips.
The double dips in this sea were crazy. I'm pretty upset with myself for brain farting in Turtle Rock. Like, I had it in my mind that, okay, I have the big key, I don't need to use the key on the door. And then I did, and I was like, oh, well, crap. I didn't want to take the 20% chance that the key was in Mirror Shield chest. I didn't want to risk that, because I felt like maybe it was close at that point, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to just, like, be ahead by a couple minutes and then completely throw it away like that. And then I checked the dark room and escape before going to Swamp, because I had not done it. I hadn't done it because my death warp, I didn't really get a death warp in escape that worked out, and I didn't want that to be the reason I lost. Like, maybe Kane being the Dark Seer, I didn't want that to be why I lost. I've had decisions from, like, super early game come back to bite me a lot in seeds I've done lately, so...
It's kind of funny how that you have one bad experience and then it's like, oh, you're thinking about it in the next one, and it's like, you know that logically that's not how you should necessarily look at a seed or you know, your situation, but at the same time you can't help but think about it too. But interestingly enough, ACMLM actually did get the lanterns, so unfortunately he didn't have to, unfortunately for you of course, he didn't have to suffer through the same darkroom fate. Would you like to know where it was?
Yes.
It was in Pod.
The
Oh, that's
part.
interesting.
Yeah.
The
bow-locked part.
island?
Nope, bow-locked part.
Oh, right, the right side, okay.
Yeah,
Because he probably went there, he probably dipped Thieves Town first.
Yep. Oh no, he just completed Thieves Town instead. Well, completed. He got too blind with the ice rod and the bow and just kind of attempted to hit him.
Yeah, he actually did not have any weapon that could strike blind. So he activated blind, but then of course did not have the normal script. He had to come back later. But so it's like one of those low things that I think you'll, you know, again on the rewatch that it will make it interesting. Also, unfortunately, your stream I think was lagging a little bit at times, so you might, if you read the chat, you might find some funny comments too. But
yeah, my internet's been okay the past few races, but this one it just like completely decided not to work. You know, at the time that the race started, it was pretty frustrating, and that was kind of weighing on my mind throughout the whole thing too. I'm really not happy with my execution in this race. I messed that up a lot. And I was having the same issues with my TV again. They weren't as bad, but I was having the same issues with my TV that I did in my race against Hippo. So I was like constantly screwing around with my cords during the race.
yeah, for sure. And it's kind of, again, it's one of those things, you know, you're both have very good execution, and I think even just, again, like the execution alone could have, you know, really played into the deciding factor. Of course, you know, it's like, well, if I didn't check that location, if I didn't do that, but when all was said and done, when I got to the end of it, execution was definitely a big part of it. And it's always unfortunate, you know, it's kind of like when you play a siege, you're like, well, you know, kind of got burned catfish having the item or something like that, but a player always likes to end a race knowing that they performed well. I know for me, even if I lost, if I felt like I played well, I felt happy about it.
I don't feel like I played particularly well, but in retrospect, I probably routed okay. So like when I when I went into Thieves Town is because I pretty much exhausted the overworld at that point. I didn't want to go in without a weapon. And then I found flippers in there, so I left. I was like, okay, I'm not going to the rest of the dungeon without a weapon to kill blind. So I'm like, okay, flippers, I can go to pod with those, let's go there. And I went there, and I found 2 swords, which is nice. And I was like, okay, now I can go back and kill blind. And then I found the bow there, and I was like, okay, well, what if I had just... I feel like this is telling me to go back to pod, and that I should have just done all of Thieves in the first place. So I kind of felt behind after that. But then I found Fire Rod and Armos, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure about this. So I became a little more confident in that I had picked a decent route towards the end, but my execution throughout the whole thing I just wasn't happy with. So I'm not really sure how I feel about it all in all, but I am happy that it was as close as it was, at least, considering the seed.
Yeah, it was definitely, again, very fun to watch, because ACM actually went into Eastern really early, got the Fire Rod. And then, of course, he went to Moth, but didn't have the sword, so he couldn't beat Moth, and, just... Again, a bunch of little things, and I think you got to the flippers first, and so you went into pod first, and just again, kind of how everything played out. And you definitely did very good. Like I wouldn't get down on yourself at all. It was a very wonderful race to watch.
I'm the kind of person with hard not to, but yeah, I guess so.
Well, it can come with a competitive mindset. You know that you can always do better, so you want to push, but definitely don't be too hard on yourself. Like, it was definitely good.
Yeah, this was a really, really difficult group, honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly true, too. You could have been in a different group, and then, who knows, right? But,
yeah, I don't know.
Chat would like you to change your smoke detector.
I'll just let it die.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the race, Elminster, and acmlm if you're listening. It's been fun. I think that there's a race in I don't know what else is going on Speed Unit. I just looked at the schedule and I didn't click on it.
There's actually a very exciting, unless I'm mistaken, a very exciting 3-way tie coming up that will determine an entire group's fate. Right here, I again believe, still on Speed Gaming, unless the schedule changes, it's coming up here on Speed Gaming.
There's also a Zelda 1. Yes, it's going to come up at 11 p.m. So in an hour. There's also Zelda 1 Randomizer, so I'd recommend that. So Elminster's peaced out. Let's peace out. Have a wonderful day. Go to Speed Gaming 2 actually and watch Zelda 1, or stay here and you can watch the host, and then you'll be here for the rando.
Yeah, go for about 45 minutes and then definitely come back here, because you will not want to miss the next race. And for my part, thank you very much, Mrs. Zelnis. It was a lot of fun to commentate with you.
Yes.
Thanks to our tracker, Draco Falcone. Thank you to our race streamer, I believe it's Kekuman Shoryu.
Yep.
And thank you all to everyone who watched. It was a lot of fun. It's very exciting. And
and the rest of the Speed Gaming staff as well. Fiesel, Mythical, and the rest.
Yes, very true.
Thank you,
So
everyone.
many people to thank.
I know. Peace, everyone.
Have a good one. Bye.